So Frank, here we are in 2012. We have an election coming up. And of course, people are bombarded with all these commercials on which way to vote. I'm curious, in your opinion, does it make a difference how the political ad is produced? Does that sway votes?
I have the answer for that. Maybe. And that's really true. It's really true. Most people, and especially during an election time, are starting to tune out all the political spots. And they also don't trust whoever is saying whatever, depending on the commercial that's anti a candidate or the commercial that's pro a candidate. It's kind of, we're getting to the point now to where we don't believe any of it because it's all going to be cherry picking the facts and all that. However, having said that, there are times when those things can make a difference. And this is basic advertising and marketing, really. I mean, the candidate is a product, is a brand. And so you can apply all the marketing elements to this. You know, most of the time where those gaffes happen, though, are not so much in a commercial, other than being criticized for maybe being too negative. You can get that, being criticized for being too negative, too harsh in your commercial. The electorate tends to be repelled by too negative of an advertising, so you can shoot yourself in the foot with that. The problem, I think, is that negative advertising tends to work more than positive advertising does. So you can say, well, we're all going to be positive. How many candidates have we seen shake hands and say, now we all promise to run a positive campaign? And it never happens. Or they'll start for about a week or so, and then one guy will break and run a negative spot. And the reason why it all goes negative is because that negative spot worked. Mm-hmm. It worked. So the other guy says, I'm being killed if I stay positive, so I've got to go negative too.
Is it the entertainment aspect of negativity?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we love that part. You know, we love the car wreck on the side of the road, and we want to stop and take a look at it as it goes by. So that's really what it is. It's a train wreck, it's a car wreck, and we always want to, you know, it's a guilty pleasure kind of thing. We want to take a look at it.
We love to see big entities go down, right?
And that's happening. And you know who you are. Okay. But
in other words, all the money in the world can't necessarily buy a good ad.
I think we've seen that at least twice now as being the case. I mean, there was all this fear that money will buy the election. Well, I think we've seen two good examples, one in California and one nationally.
Yeah, I know what to mention.
That just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. It could have if they had spent the money in the right places, in the right messages. But indeed, they didn't, both of those campaigns. I mean, we could pick them apart, and they will be picked apart shortly in a post-mortem. But just the fact that large amounts of money were available didn't guarantee a win.
So it's not necessarily the saturation of how many ads you buy on TV. It really does come down to the message or the script, do you think?
Well, the message and the script that promotes the character of the brand. If the character of the brand is already flawed, you can promote that all you want, but it's still a flawed character. If the character of the brand doesn't relate to the marketplace, i.e. the voters, no matter how many times you repeat that, won't be enough to make those voters like, trust, and then vote for that brand.
So you don't think brainwashing works when it comes to repetition?
Well, if we could waterboard the entire electorate, maybe, you know.
But then you look at, you know, all the brands that do well, that make a lot of money. You know, the big chains are what make the billions, whereas their competitors that are not on TV, they don't compete.
But still, the brand has to deliver. Mm-hmm. You know, you can make a car that you say is the best car in the world, but if there's all this evidence out there, all the anecdotal evidence, the experience, that it breaks down all the time, no matter how many times you say that, is not going to counter the experience of using the brand. So the brand has to at least have some modicum of reliability, that it delivers what it promises. And that's where a lot of these candidates were having problems, was they were not able to develop a belief structure in the voters that they were going to be able to deliver what they promised. And so the voters saw all their advertising, but said, oh, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. And so it didn't help. So it's not all of one and none of the other. You got to have both. You got to have a product and the advertising.
So the old saying that the medium is the message isn't quite all-encompassing of understanding how media works.
I don't think it's quite that simplistic. Correct.
Okay, great. Thanks, Frank.
Okay, buddy.